Today we look at the Bitcoin price action again. The price may stay the same or go up and down like it did yesterday, but there are some new signs on the chart that are both bullish and negative. So let's talk about that today. First, we'll look at some of the more hopeful confluences. Next, we'll look at some that could mean prices are going down. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about the 4-hour bull divergence we have. Below those on price, more lows on the RSI. Nice for our regular bull div. That could be a sign that the low is in. As I said in yesterday's video, I think this is probably the low. We'll see if it is that low. As I'm not a fortune teller, I can only give you those levels and they have been respected very well. Let's look at the chart that shows all of my levels to see how this is being followed. For those of you who don't know, the 30-minute time frame is what we're talking about. We wanted to get above sweep and hold that as support. You can see a pixel touch on that sweep level. And then we wanted to see this start reclaiming the rest of those liquidity levels, those range lows. And you can see a pixel perfect rejection off of this one. And now a denial off of volume that is pixel perfect. The price is now at a pretty important point. This level is being turned down again. It's not the best sign, but it doesn't prove too much either. This is going to be rejected. But I will say this. It wouldn't surprise me if it did, right? I don't think it's crazy that this will end up being a little lower than expected. Right now, this is the second type of base case. All of that is swept away before we go up or maybe even grab the CME gap. At about $53,000, there's a big CME gap down here. If you look at this CME map, you can see this gap down here. These do get filled up about 90% of the time. I think the price is going to go up from here though. Prices went to all-time highs and then started to fall quickly. They might hit that level again at the end of the year, which would still be bullish, right? It's possible that there will be a bullish pullback into that CME gap. We could go all the way down to 47K and it would still be a move in the right direction. Even so, I don't want that 47K touch to happen quickly if it does happen. I do not wish to spend a lot of time down there. In general, the better organization we'll have, the higher prices we can hold. We definitely want to keep. After Bitcoin broke through a new local high, we definitely want to see it break through another new local low. That's fine then. But a 47,000 sweep in the CME gap wouldn't be good for Bitcoin structure, and it could mean the price is weak. Also, it's possible that we don't actually take this cash, right? There's always a chance that we won't get that cash and the market will go down. I don't want to sound too negative in this movie though, because my base case hasn't changed. We have a secret. Here's the bulldozer. If bulls can show us that this can be taken back, raise us above volume, I would then think that was the low point and that we can move on up. Order flow is showing us some good signs, right? We have another bull div over here. In fact, 3 drives of ECVD bull div. On the CVD, you can see lower lows. While our price lows are lower, that is, in fact, the best board face in the world, if you know what I mean. In simple terms, it means that longs are opening up while price takes those longs in, but they can't get into the market anymore. This is the reason why open interest is going down with price. This stuff is basically being longed by a lot of people, which is why we keep cleaning it. Right now, there are too many people who want to buy going long, and I wouldn't be surprised if we had a bigger flush on Bitcoin. There are big buyers coming in around 58,200. We can see some single prints down below. From the middle of September on, you can see single pictures on the TPO cover. That could be a big level to watch in this area, right? The level chart shows that it is 58,200. This is just above this big volume support which could hold. But I think we'll probably do the sweep if we get below that support. At the moment, 57,500 is kind of the big goal. Based on how the price is moving, I do think it's likely that Bitcoin will go down to that level. We had a good chance to hold it yesterday, but it just didn't work out for Bitcoin. Another thing that didn't work out was Bitcoin's control. We can see that Bitcoin was turning down this band. It looked like the price would go down. This seemed like a good high, but we're putting out a few more on Bitcoin dominance. The current state of all coins is very weak, which is not what we want to see. We'll see how this turns out though. As of now, we don't know enough to say if this is really good for Bitcoin control or if it will just be another deviation back into the range. We need to wait and see. That being said, it's not the best sign for all coins right away, especially when you look at ETH Bitcoin. Watch as ETH Bitcoin breaks down. It had a very strong structure, but it couldn't keep it together. Again, this is not a good sign for your altcoin market. This might change because the DXY is still showing a lot of power off of these lows. We'll see how this turns out. We are about to find out if it will sweep the highs, make a lower high, or break out of the backtest. With that in mind, let's look at what does happen in the DXY that is not tied to Bitcoin. We want this to end. We go to the Russell. As you can see, the Russell is giving us a little bit of relief, but it's still not the strongest amount of support. Okay, we'll check to see if this really works and get back to a place of power. But there isn't a lot to go on with the Russell right now. We are definitely in the middle of a range, but the short-term picture is a little more bearish. Moving on to the SP 500, this is still showing a lot of strength. It's sitting above all-time highs and has actually broken through these all-time highs pretty well. But there shouldn't be too much proof here. There isn't much fluctuation at all. Even though the price is only going up and down, there are clear signs that this stabilization phase may be coming to an end and the SP 500 may be on its way to another all-time high. So let's see what actually happens. We should definitely wait for these charts to sort of shape up and give us a better idea of where they are going. Because even though we may be seeing some bearish signs on Bitcoin right now, like volume that won't go through, I think that's just because there are too many longs in the market that need to be swept out before we go up. The economy still looks good, so I think we'll keep going up. We look at changes in jobs outside of farms that came out today. We thought it would be more than what it was, and you can see that it was much higher than that. So you can see that 143,000 jobs were lost in non-farm areas. Though that is a good sign, we will find out tomorrow about jobless claims, and they expect them to be higher than they were last month. We'll see if that matches what was expected or if it beats what was expected. That could be a big clue for the market. Then there's the rate of unemployment. This Friday, so that will be an even bigger measure of change. This week, some good business news came out. It might be good or bad. We need to check it out. It's good so far, though. I believe there is a good chance after the market has had a chance to think about the news from the week. Assuming that the numbers are correct, right? They do lie about the numbers and sometimes change them later. The market doesn't really trust them then. But still, having a job is a big factor. That being said, beating standards is not a bad thing at all. And I'm sure we're getting close to the time of year when things are about to go crazy. No need to rush, we're just taking it easy for now. Most of the time, the first half of months that are positive, like October, are bearish. It was like that last year. It was mostly down the first week, but it was mostly up the rest of the month. I don't think it would be strange to see the same thing here. Let's wait a little while longer and see what the charts say next. So if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, or if you just want to join the community for this channel, there is a link to my Discord server in the text below. I also got a VIP Discord which is 25% off right now. You can click on the link below to learn more about it and then decide for yourself